Hi everyone, today we are going to be making kokedama orchids or floating islands. And kokedama is a Japanese method of planting meaning moss ball. So that's all it really is. It's just a floating or sitting moss ball that you plant any sort of air or tree climbing, also known as epiphytic, plants. Another name for kokedama is poor man's bonsai, because similar to a bonsai, it's a plant kind of on a small scale, but it's really easy to make and it doesn't require as much time and commitment that a bonsai might. So let's figure out what we need and how to create our very own kokedamas. Alright, so first we need our plant. I'm going to be using an orchid. We need clean scissors. You need a mesh bag. This one came from Freezer Pups. Some floral wire, string, and moss. I have my moss already sitting in water. And that is because moss needs to soak that water up. It's really important that your moss is nice and saturated, so getting your moss in the water before you start the project is really important. I also have cinnamon. Cinnamon is going to be helpful for when we cut the roots of our plants. It can act as a fungicide and also helps the plant to heal itself over. So it really is like a little immune boost for the plant. Let's get started making our kokedamas. I here have this orchid, and the best time to kokedama an orchid is when the flowers are done. The plant is going to switch from putting most of its energy into flower production and switch to root growth. So I'm gonna take my stakes out and I'm going to trim the inflorescence of orchids back. You can see there's only one flower left. It's a sad flower. Its time is done. I'm going to cut those inflorescences with my clean scissors all the way back to the base. And again, when you cut, just lightly tap some cinnamon on any open wounds. It doesn't take a lot. Now, take your mesh bag. This is going to be the base of the ball. I'm going to cut the plastic off. And now, with our mesh, I'm gonna open it up a little bit. And I'm going to remove the potting media, the brown bark, and put it in this bag, along with just a little bit of moss. Be very careful with this step, as you don't want to damage the roots of your plant too much. Roots can be very fragile, so be sure to be very gentle as you pull the medium off. Any roots that look brown, decayed, rotten, you're going to want to trim those and then dip the ends in cinnamon. And set your plant aside. Now, you're going to fill the middle with your potting medium. So hold the bottom like a vase and then just fill the top up with the medium. Tie each of the ends off. and you have your weird little ball of mesh. Don't worry if some medium is falling out, that's okay. We can always incorporate it with the moss later. You can trim the ends of your mesh bag off. Now, wrap it with your soaking moss. You don't need a heavy layer of moss, just enough that you won't be able to see your bag anymore. So you can take some string and secure it. Once it's covered enough, you can tie the string and cut it. You may still see some red poking out from the mesh, but that's okay because we're going to keep covering in moss as we add our orchid. So I'm going to take my orchid and gently kind of drape the roots around. Remember to be very gentle. The nice thing about kokedama is you can leave some of the roots exposed, which will allow you to monitor the health of the plant. Add some more moss over top, continuing to take the tail end of your string to adhere it. Remember not to cover all of the roots. Keep the moss as you start adding more and more. Keep the moss a little bit away from the base of your orchid as you don't want to rot the plant. Continue placing your moss until you're happy with how it looks. And at this point, start using your decorative string to make your moss ball look beautiful. Once you're happy with the amount of moss that you have and how secure it is, you can tie it off. And now I have an orchid moss ball. Finally, think about where you want it. Do you want to hang it or do you want to sit it? If you want to hang it, use your floral wire to poke through your moss ball and twist up. Then you can attach your string. Trim the ends and tie your string to hang. Now, ta-da! You have your hanging or floating orchid. Now all sides of this orchid are touching the air and are exposed. It's going to dry out pretty quickly. Every couple of days, if not every day, you're going to need to submerge it. Take your bucket of water and place your moss ball inside that water. Don't let the water come and fully submerge the plant, come all the way up, because that can rot the crown. Just submerge the moss ball itself in the water and let it sit. You can take it out and then feel how heavy it is. Right now, right after making it, it should be pretty heavy since the moss has been soaking for a while. Remember that. Then, after, when you dry and it dries out, it gets really lightweight. Submerge it, soak it until it feels this heavy again. Enjoy your new, stylish and trendy greenery in this Japanese art of kokedama.